The touch of your hand makes me tremble within. Love the smell of your hair.
Man, feeling well, man.
What's your name?
My name is Cardi Cornish.
And you a legend?
I'm a legend.
You're a legend here in Baltimore City. Where we at right now?
We live in the 17, Pennsylvania Avenue. The legendary Pennsylvania Avenue.
Man, the last time I saw you here, you were doing something just across the street here. What were you doing?
Oh yeah, I had some food left over from an event. We brung it out. We fed a couple of people, man.
Why you do that?
Nice soul food.
Why you do that?
Man, the love that God has shown me in Christ, man, it overflows. That's how it overflows.
That's right.
We got more than we can use.
Already was high within Sandtown, Winchester community, but the age group is getting younger. Children under the age of 18 being murdered in Sandtown has a high peak right now. So our goal is to catch the children.
And as time goes by, I know I'm in a
Damn.
You going hard, man. You going hard on that man today.
So what do you think, Mr. Mayor? You got manufacturing right here, helping our young people despite all of the challenges in the city of Baltimore, right here on North Avenue.
No, it's really about the growth. Just knowing where, being there when they were down in Port Covington and seeing how far it's grown. Like you said earlier, like getting the sorbet, where we got the sorbet at the beginning, but now being able to, when I'm at Canada Yards, get it, or anytime I'm down at Harbor Place to get it, and folks to not even know, but they gonna know now that like this is coming from young people in West Baltimore, right there in West Baltimore on North Avenue, where they think nothing great comes from, but they can see it in what the young people do.
It's the things that you do.
Here on the bank of Mississippi, with our buddies here, Frank Floyd Mathis. A beautiful town, New Orleans. Just leaving Algiers, which is update 10 years since Katrina.
It's a smile on your face. And as time goes by, I know I'm in a better place. I'm in a better place.
All right, y'all, this is what I came to New York for. Besides the Black Wall Street Awards, we're going in here and get some of this real good jerk chicken. Johnny Glover, out.
Your skin, just the touch of your hand makes me tremble within.
But we need to feed our loved ones. DOTS needs to rescind this package policy program so that our loved ones are able to eat every day in that filthy facility that
we have some stars in the building.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. We have with us Mr. Byron Deese. Good morning.
Morning. How you feeling, brother?
And the one and only Mike Haynie.
Hey, good morning, Doni. Hey, Byron.
Mike, how you doing, man? How you doing?
Mr. Haynie, you had a very interesting week. Welcome back to these United States.
It is very good to be back, man. Seemed to be just in time for the last days of what's going to be an ostentatious presidential election.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. How was your trip to Dubai?
It was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. The technology advancements that we experienced was great. To be able to propel our project in Africa forward with the networking and the information that we learned, it was just outstanding. Anytime you get a chance to travel and meet people from all over the world, regardless of the controversies that lay with the country you come from, unbelievable. Good friends from Iran, good friends from Iraq, Africa, Canada, the UK, etc. Everyone, peace and harmony. Peace and harmony is what the world should be about.
Did you learn anything?
I learned a considerable amount, man, a considerable amount about people, a considerable amount about technology, and that it's important for us because, my lens was looking at it from a entrepreneurial perspective as well as a journalist, and particularly a journalist that represents the views of Black America or Black people in general.
Just want to let you know that next Friday we will be at the one and only Howard University, Black Wall Street Howard University. Honorees include Tyson Lee Williams. She's been on this show before. Also, Yodit Shabru, the Director of Government Contracts, Charles Mott, Associate State Director, and Stacy Palmer, Executive Virtual Assistant at the DC Small Business Development Center. So we will continue with the mission of the Black Wall Street Awards. Also, we will be having our end of year celebration. We're partnering with a couple of groups, including WNADA, the West North Avenue Development Authority, Four Sisters Network Incorporated, Miss Peggy Morris and Company, as well as the Greater Baltimore Black Chamber of Commerce, to have the Black Wall Street Holiday Celebration. We'll be down at the Downtown Cultural Arts Center, 401 North Howard Street. Mr. Byron Deese, how was your week, sir?
All good, man. All good. I do want to ask Brother Haynie if you attended the same conference in Dubai with Mark Anthony Thomas from the GBC, the Greater Baltimore Committee. They were there this week as well. And I know he was one of the panelists, I believe.
So I was at the GTEX conference, and I did not know that they were there if they were at that conference. There were a couple of conferences. I mean, Dubai conference facility is huge. It would put probably 10 of Baltimore Convention Center in it. We had almost 50,000 attendees.
Yeah.
And if they were, I did not know.
Okay. Yeah, I know he was there this week, and I believe it was a tech conference, but I wasn't sure exactly if
it had to be that one. This is the biggest one in the world, man. Matter of fact, I'm going to do some research on that, Byron, to see if they were, because I wish I had the clip. My producer has the clip when we were talking about the ransomware attack in Baltimore. Got a chance to engage a panel regarding Baltimore and its attack a couple of years ago or so, if you recall, when the city was almost shut down and they decided to pay a ransom to hackers of our city services.
This was during the tenure of Mayor Bernard Jack Young.
Yes, absolutely.
So while you were gone, Mr. Haynie, good morning to Michael and Alexis. While you were gone, the city of Baltimore, and we know that you have formerly run hotels here in the city and across the country, including the Tremont Plaza here down on St. Paul Street. But while you were gone, the city severed its ties with the Baltimore Office of Promotion and Arts. Any thoughts on the matter?
Hey, well, Doni, in addition to doing hotels, I also served as the only Black president of the State Tourism Coalition that included BOPA. So I kept very well up on what was happening with BOPA. Very sad to see Bill Gilmore, who I knew, who ran it prior to the tenure of Donna Sawyer, who took over, African-American female, and subsequently the young lady, I forget her name for now, that came from Reginald Lewis Center, took over that. Was fairly stable organization, and very, very sad to see, particularly with two African-American females in leadership there after Bill Gilmore's term. I think Bill Gilmore was there almost 16, 17 years. It was fairly stable, fairly uncontroversial. Then you brought Miss Sawyer in, and things just seemed to come unraveled there, particularly when she canceled the Martin Luther King Day parade. So I think bad politics did them in.
It says
And
that
I would also say on that, Donnie, this is I would say, an opportunity for the mayor and his administration to really look at it from more so from his office administration perspective of, because there's some overlap in the services and initiatives that BOPA does and that some of the other organizations also do in terms of arts and entertainment and the operations of those events. I serve on the board for the Baltimore Civic Fund, and the Civic Fund plays a role in AFRAM, a lot of the bigger events that are happening on the back office
so
side.
you're responsible for AFRAM being out at Druid Hill Park?
No.
Black people out the park with the zoo animals. Everybody else gets to go downtown. I never bought into that too well, Mr. Haynie.
Well, again, but I would say on that point, though, this is an opportunity for the mayor's administration to say, okay, how do we really approach this cost effectively, but at the same time doing things in a way that you don't have overlap between multiple organizations approaching some of the same events and new events that could be for the benefit of the city. So I think strategically that was kind of the objective anyway, as it lingered on and there were some issues and conflicts going on. But the point to this point is to say, what will happen next in terms of how will the operations of BOPA continue, what will stay, what will leave, what's coming new, and who will run those types of activities going forward.
Mr. Haynie, I've put it forth before, and I will continue to do so. We have blacks in many, if not most, of the major positions, political positions in the state of Maryland and the city of Baltimore. When are we going to use those positions as a bully platform for the most neglected people, not only here in Baltimore and the state, but in these United States? You have a black governor, you have a black treasurer, you have a black attorney general, a black mayor, a black city council president, a black comptroller, a black state's attorney. You have one of the largest black caucuses in the United States. Now, if they were all Jewish or all Latino, best believe those people would be advocating and directing funds and resources to their community. Why aren't we?
Well, Donnie, we got to remember who the shot callers are. Who's the real shot callers. We've talked about shot callers. We've talked about parent authority and real authority. Apparently we may have the authority in our mayoral positions, our city council positions, but the real authority may lay with the stakeholders that own institutions, own lands, and ensure that certain things happen. You look at BOPA, you look at film in the arts, you look at what BOPA's responsibilities are in terms, look at the Bromo Salsa Tower that they're responsible for, and some of the other festivities that they're responsible for. When Bill Gilmore was in charge of BOPA, he raised monies for Artscape alone. And Donna Sawyer and her predecessor just did not have the cooperation or the depth within the philanthropic community to raise the money for BOPA to be sustainable without the city's infusion of cash, of which the city says, well, hey, you are a quasi-government organization. You essentially report to the mayor, but we still expect you to have a board that has the depth and strength to raise money on your own. And they couldn't get that done because their politics was bad.
Well, that's quite unfortunate. We'd like to welcome to the show Princess Williams. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
What's been happening in your world?
In my world, I was up very early this morning. It was probably 2:30 a.m. As I said my prayers, I sang my songs. And then I started thinking about today's show. And I was like, oh my God, I'm potentially going to talk to Byron Deese and Mike Haynie, two trend-setting men. Yeah. So I was excited. But my world is all about business. I'm trying to start my business, and I'm looking for, I have a business. I'm trying to get it to an operational standpoint so that it's profitable. And I thought, you know what? it'd be a great opportunity. I need to connect with Mike, and I need to pick the brain of Byron, because these men can be like mentors to me because they're so successful at what they do. So honestly, I'm in the world of happy. That's what's going on in my world. Happy, positive, and optimistic.
Flattery will get you everything.
Everything. It'll get you everything you want.
If you haven't, do check out Be More News tonight. We have a story up about movie night on Herbert Street, the Herbert Street Park, Aquila and the Bee. There will also be a spelling bee. Also, we have an op-ed from April. What's April's last name? April O. Turner. Black women are targets and a solution in the fight against election misinformation. Of course, we have an election coming up on the first Tuesday in November. Other stories include an op-ed, well, actually an editorial, an op-ed, one by David Byrd. Also, Brooks win could mean democracy is on the ballot in one of the nation's wealthiest Black counties. There's also a story about Ven McCormick leading New Life Recovery. We do a show for Ven on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 12 noon right here on this network. So, Mr. Haynie, what's been the story? Were there any stories that you uncovered or came across in Dubai that we aren't or haven't talked about here in the U.S.?
No, not really. I mean, I think that they're very up on world news. Dubai is in the Middle East, not very far from Iran. Although it was a very kumbaya moment because everyone was there for advancement of technology, knowledge of technology, networking opportunities, etc. Everyone has their eye on what's happening in the Middle East. Everyone has their eye on what's happening in Taiwan. Everyone has their eye on what's happening in Ukraine. So global concern with global issues that may affect the economy of many. So people were paying attention. What do you think about the elections in the U.S., Mike? You know, is Donald Trump a better person to settle this world than Kamala Harris? Do people respect him more enough to keep from going to war? Why do you Black men in America seem not to be in support of Kamala Harris? Well, I think that was a blanket.
Some Black men or
trending.
That's
the blanket statement that you hear out there, even through this morning's news, that Black men are not supporting
some Black men.
Hey, I'm just giving you the perspective of what's out there. I'm not saying that. You listen to me?
I just need you to word it accurately.
No, I'm wording it the way that it's coming to me if you listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah, but this is Black media, and we don't repeat what we hear on Main.
I understand what you're saying, and that's exactly the issue to what you're saying, that the perception is that Black men are not supporting her, and that's not true. But the perception is, because all it takes is a couple, and this is how our messages get distorted by others when they see a ability to conquer and divide. We eat it up. We know that what you're saying is very true, Donnie. But that's not the perception being put out there in media.
That's why we need to correct it here on this network.
Yeah, but you know, it's important that we ensure that people understand the perception that people think that it is, and it's not. You're absolutely right.
I will say also to Mike's point, when I was living in England and traveling around in Europe during the Bush administration, and I remember didn't matter what country we visited. First thing, as soon as we opened our mouth and they could hear that we were Americans, the first question they would ask, and a lot of them looking right at me because I was the only brother out there with my roommates. Why did you vote for Bush? Why did you make that man the president again? And so I'm like, whoa, I don't think you understand American politics. And the fact that we actually do have an opportunity to vote for someone, but why did you vote for him again? So they may not see it the way we understand it. They just know the fact that this brother's, or in that case, it was Bush. He got back in office. In this case, they're hearing it and they're saying, why aren't the black men supporting that sister up there? So I completely understand, especially when you're just trying to communicate what they're saying to you, because I end up having to defend myself that even though I was the only one, the other guys around me did vote for Bush, right? So I was out there defending myself. Like, I didn't vote for the man, so it's definitely a real perspective from them to what's going on in America and black people's role in American politics.
Princess Byron,
Yeah.
Michael, is this a democracy?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Listen,
This is a republic.
It's a republic.
A democracy would be that the majority rules, but we have the system here with the what do you call it?
Electoral college.
Yeah, that thing.
But
which changes the whole perception, because all of us may vote one way, but if the person representing us in the electoral college one day decides to go south, then that's what this state's vote will show up as. So
but it's American democracy.
Semblance of it. No, it gives the semblance of democracy so that there isn't any revolution.
I'm interested in what Princess thinks about that, because that's a compelling question that you asked, Doni. Very compelling.
It gives the semblance. It makes you think you have some say, but in the election of Trump, in the election of Bush, the popular vote went to Al Gore, went to Hillary Clinton. But the Electoral College voted for these two people. Two of the worst presidents ever.
Well, while Princess is thinking, when you really think about it, Doni, we weren't brought over here in a democratic process, an autocratic process. We were brought over here as slaves anyway. The Constitution has no one around the table that looks like us. So what is our expectation of a democracy? But we do have a high expectation of a capitalistic society, which is dependent on poor people for its margins of profit. And we understand that emphatically. And the electoral system ensured that the states that were less populous, because most of your states on the coast were going to contain most of your Africans, because that's how they got bought over on the ships. And so your middle states, they made sure the equation, that's why every state has 2 senators, were such that the equation is that the most populous states would never be able to successfully overwhelm the states with the influence like the South Dakotas and the Wisconsins and other states that they deem important that they wanted to live in.
Well, I have to push back on you, Mr. Haynie. Not all of us came here in the bottom of a slave ship.
The influences of slavery dominated.
Already here when the European arrived, and black people have been in these Americas
since
for thousands of years.
1600s, absolutely.
Thousands of years, sir. Lucia in Brazil, her bones are 14,000 years old. We have been here. The Egyptians were here, maybe even Mansa Musa. So I just want to clarify, Europeans lost history. Hell, they're just getting over the fact of admitting that Columbus was lost. This whole Columbus Day thing.
I wonder what the Constitution would look like if you and Princess were sitting around the table when it was written. What it looked like today.
It depends if I had an AR or not. If I had an AR, we'd be having a totally different conversation.
You know what I think? I think that I'm reminded of how far we've come. We are living in a society in a potential state to elect our first woman of color president. She's a diverse woman representing multiple ethnic backgrounds. Mm-hmm. And when I think about how far we've come, I'm reminded of the segregation era. I'm reminded of, a period in American history when women could not vote, when the women's suffrage movement was, at that time, the height of discussion. So fast forward to today, as you all are probably aware, there was a recent interview that Kamala Harris did with Fox News. And I don't know if have you all of you watched some of it or what you could
I
tolerate?
watched it.
You watched it. And for me, you know, just as a woman, not even as a woman, as if I was an interviewee, I thought it was a very rude interview. It was hard to listen to. And I thought about what makes for a successful interview. The first is listening. And I was, I thought to myself, Oprah Winfrey, part of why she succeeded on her platform is she's an excellent interviewer. She listens. And Kamala Harris, during this race, she has faced various levels of sexism, various levels and degrees of bigotry, from people mispronouncing her name on purpose, to people denigrating her accomplishments, to just an overall and overwhelming lack of respect. And I sometimes have to question, is it all because she's a woman? From the standpoint of democracy, we know that the issues are great. We know that we can't simplify the issues into one sentence. But sometimes I just wish, on a level of just humanity, that we treated each other better. And when I think about that interview that just aired with Fox, and I think about, us having many of us have children, we'd send them to school and we teach them to be kind to others, I would hope. And the message that I believe is indirectly being transmitted when we don't practice acts of kindness, and I just thought the interview was very, very unkind. Brett would ask Kamala Harris a question, and before she could even answer, he would interrupt her. And she had to, on many occasions, say, "May I answer your question? May I answer your question?" Now, that was a tactic and strategy to throw her off course in an effort to bring out potentially a not so nice side of her. And I thought she carried herself very well without becoming irate, irritated, or showing a less than graceful side that we all have in general. But if when I think about democracy, which when you break down the word democracy, and this is how I was taught it in school, it means our people, our people. It embodies a sense of unity. At the core of unity is humanity. So when I think about Donnie's question, are we living in a democracy? Right now, we are a divided country on many values. And the biggest one that I think we all need to potentially contemplate improving is very fundamental. And it's just listening to one another and being able to respectfully agree that we will not always agree. And in moments of disagreement, we can still respect each other without the negativity, without the sexist remarks, without unkindness. Because a lot of what we're seeing targeted towards Kamala Harris is just a bunch of unkindness in a nutshell. And so, I am a little bit worried about her. I'm worried about her. I'm not going to lie. I'm worried about the outcome of this election because Trump I think I read that he just recently got an increase, a $90 million donorship recently to his campaign. Now, this isn't about money, of course. They both have a lot of money being donated to their campaigns, but I am worried about the outcome because, Trump is gaining some progress and a lot of people are joining his side. And, right now, when I think about how far women have come, we still live in a society. And I question, how much progress have we really made considering the comments and attacks that Kamala Harris has received outside of her accomplishments. A lot of things that have been said about her have a lot to do with her just being a woman.
There have been some black men who've made some comments online that are embarrassing. I've seen some egregious, disrespectful words stated on camera, on social media, And it really begs the question, what Obama has posed, are you against a woman being president? And sadly, Mr. Haynie, you're right. There are those who are strapped to the mainstream, regardless of what anyone says, saying very disrespectful things. I couldn't believe my ears.
Well, a couple things. Maybe black men are upset, and I'm just throwing this out there as we should do to tickle our conscience, right? Maybe they're like, well, why should I support a black woman that's married to a white man? You know, and I'm just saying that you know, because we still are a racist society. Separate but equal. What does separate but equal mean? Princess, you brought up the word segregation, right? Was segregation the end of our Black Wall Street when we became desegregated as a country and were not able at that point to support our own economy, right? Was desegregation the end of Black Wall Street that allowed white people to infiltrate the businesses that we inherently in our own community supported, as well as our HBCUs when we were a developing community out of slavery, right? And so we got to think about that. So, you know, what are the inherent issues that black men have of self-conscious?
Some black men.
I said black men related to, I said, what are? It's a question posed to what we said. We all have inherently issues of weaknesses, etc. Right? I'm not saying anything that, as Princess said, there are inherently things that we all have to come to grips and deal with, you know. But as you mentioned earlier, Doni, on the most part, black men do support Kamala, and if they don't, they should take a look at why.
I don't know. I haven't polled most black men, but I know many of the black men I know clearly would support this brilliant black woman over this war. As a matter of fact, the people I know would take a boll weevil hooked on a bag of fentanyl over top of this helicopter haircut dude.
Yeah, well, you know, I've got clips. I've done interviews of black men who support Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Right? For whatever reasons they support him. Be it, what was the former mayor of Detroit who he let out of jail 20 years earlier than his term? Catherine Pugh, former mayor of Baltimore, applied for a pardon with him, right? He freed a significant amount of black men out of prison at the end of his term. So why would they feel endeared? I'm not sure, but it's something that we have to look at as journalists and people.
This man said he would put the Haitians out his first day in office. And if we know our history, we know that the Haitians represent the strongest black people in the Western Hemisphere. They kicked Napoleon Bonaparte in his hind parts and kicked the French out of Haiti. And
Funny you mention that. I was in Paris on Wednesday and got an opportunity to hang for 4 hours during my layover with a Haitian from that lived in Paris, and he was talking about that, but more in the context of rooting the president of Kenya and Joe Biden and why they would send thousands of soldiers into Haiti, 9,000 miles away, right? So it's all context, because I wanted to call into your show from the Eiffel Tower and let you meet Cameron.
Oh, you're just showing off now, Mike.
No. What I'm saying to you, though, perspective is everything, but people's reality. And he said to me in the backdrop of the Eiffel Tower, the damn French built this with Haitian money. Because Haiti was the first country that paid for its freedom. They paid for their freedom almost $1 billion.
Well, they were paying restitution.
The Eiffel Tower with that money, but he said Joe Biden sent troops with rooting the president of Kenya over to Haiti and gave the perspective that Haiti was in unrest and destroyed Haiti's economy, which was depending on tourism because no one wanted to travel because of that perception.
And don't forget Hillary Clinton. She went down there and took money, redirected monies that were meant for the Haitian people. Don't forget the Clintons.
So Trump, Biden,
so really both of them, it's just far right white people disguised as Democrats and Republicans who are trying to make Haiti pay back France because they kicked France square in the hind parts.
Yeah,
get up out of here.
So listen to what you're saying when you talk about why some black men, and I'm not one of them, so I'm ensuring that you don't think
you are harping on it
towards Trump. Understand why some black men may want to look in that direction and oppose supporting Kamala Harris, man. Same thing here in the state of Maryland.
Go ahead over there and support the racist Trump.
I saw Larry Hogan.
Go over there and support the traitor.
At
the
the
man
bottom.
who caused an insurrection.
I see Larry Hogan flash across the screen.
Vice president. That's
so
not
what
the
about
kind of
Angela Alsobrooks? Is that the same scenario? Do you support Angela Alsobrooks or do you support Larry Hogan?
Who's that?
Should we be asking that question?
Me or this network?
No, you. We're talking about you. You are the network. You are the network.
Oh no, I'm just one person. There are other people that help make this network.
Nah, baby. You inspire. You birthed quite a few of us. And let's take the tide closer to home and talk about Larry Hogan.
Doni Glover show, not the Michael Haynie show. Please don't step out.
No. You birthed me. You created
Please
this
don't
monster.
step out of line. Princess,
you created this
you can't make a cut. That's why you're here, Princess.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Byron, ask him about Larry Hogan.
Ask
him about Larry Hogan, Byron. Princess, ask him about Angela also.
What do you want to know?
What's your question, Mike Haynie?
Ask him about Angela Alsobrooks. Is there a correlation between Angela Alsobrooks and Kamala Harris where black men should be supporting it? And why at the bottom does Larry Hogan ring
let me help you out. Here it is right there.
Oh,
there
it goes right there.
Paid
Larry Hogan,
advertising.
U.S. Senator, paid advertising on the Doni Glover show. Would you have Donald Trump on the bottom if he paid?
Actually, no.
Who? Don't get me started.
Bring it on.
Now.
You know.
Did you not support Larry Hogan?
Who you asking?
You.
Did I?
No, that's a stall tactic.
Absolutely.
That's a stall tactic. Come on, don't be a hypocrite. That's one thing I can't stand is a hypocrite.
I
didn't tell you I haven't endorsed anybody for the U.S. Senate race. And it's probably best I don't. But I will take an ad from anybody that wants to advertise on this network and help supplement the work that we do. I damn sure will.
Well, then that's a sellout.
No, that's called business.
Nah, so, and you're going to take an ass whipping from the black community potentially as well.
Well,
I mean, I'm not saying,
let me tell you,
I understand. I'm on your side.
Let me tell you, bud, if that's the case, I've
But
already endured that. Let me speak. Let me answer. Let me answer. When O'Malley was in office for 8 years, would you let me speak? You need to let yourself out. When O'Malley was governor for 8 years, we didn't get a dime of work during 8 years of a Democrat. So I don't want to hear that crap. When I look at the city of Baltimore, 9-1 Democrat, why have all of the funds over the past 5 or 6 decades gone into the White L, which is Johns Hopkins University, down to the harbor, over to East Harbor, and very little has gone into East and West Baltimore? We're just starting to see some type of investment on West North Avenue after Freddie Gray, which was damn near a decade ago. So to hell with all of that Democratic loyalty. We are about those who support us. And the Democrats treat black people like a side piece in general. Now, as it relates to this election, we absolutely wish the two dynamic black women the best. We understand.
I mean, if you think about it, well, let me also add, technically speaking, Mike, if you think about many news networks,
journalists,
what makes for a great network is a network that provides news coverage on both sides. And I believe that BeMoreNews.com does a great job of serving both sides. We talk about Trump, we talk about Kamala Harris. And in terms of advertising, I don't think that just because the Republican Party or the Democratic Party chooses to advertise with a news source, does that in any way, shape, or form influence or should limit
Don't
how
be
the
foolish.
owners
He
choose
was
to
over there
vote?
with
How the
Earl
owners choose
and he
to
was
vote
over
is a
there with
personal
Hogan.
decision.
He knows damn well what I'm talking about. We got a lot done with Hogan in terms of vacant houses. Sandtown, where I live, has more vacant houses than most communities.
I want to hear what
across the
Princess
city.
is saying. Let her finish.
I mean, I think in a perfect world, what Donnie is also getting to, which I think, I think it's a great question. And so I'm going to put it out there in case there are any Democratic campaigners for either parties in a position to advertise with me, BeMoreNews.com. Can you advertise with BeMoreNews.com? We don't care that you're Republican. We don't care that you're Democrat. But right now, what Mr. Glover is saying is that historically, Larry Hogan has been a great supporter of BeMoreNews.com. Historically. And if I have a business, Voiceover Inspires Entertainment, I need supporters. So if I get people to support my business, I think that's a great thing. And I think but when we talk about news outlets, when I think about CNN and Fox, they're getting support from various places. And yet they're reporting on news coverage, in my opinion, especially CNN. I think CNN provides both sides to some degree. And then there's also MSNBC. We can go down the list. So I think the fact that Larry Hogan is supporting BeMoreNews.com is a congratulations and kudos to Donnie Glover for being able to secure that advertising. Clap. Hey, yeah. Good job, Donnie. Good job. Great job. And in fact, I wish also, Brooke, she could do the same. But has she? She has not. Will I still vote for her? I will still vote for her. I still support what her mission is, but has she donated or contributed to the advertising with BeMoreNews.com?
But
She has
black
not.
people are.
So we're just stating facts. We're not saying anything negative. We're just stating facts. And I think the facts are that we all have businesses. We talk about Black Wall Street. A big component of Black Wall Street is propelling entrepreneurship forward. It's lifting up Black businesses. And at the end of the day, so many of us do not get the funding we need to keep our businesses afloat. So, thank you, Larry Hogan, for the advertising.
And thank you, Michael Haynie, for your financial support of this network in which we bring on voices from across the country.
Hey, I'll continue to say, and Princess, I hear you, and I'm very curious about what Byron thinks about this. Princess, I hear you, and you're absolutely right. I support Donnie, I support Byron, I'll support Princess so that we don't find ourselves as media given the illusion that we're bought and paid for. Let me give you CNN's perspective of a lot of overseas countries. In Africa last year, I was astounded. They said, well, CNN and CNN International is no different than the Russian news media. When I was in Dubai just this week, the same perception as CNN. CNN is a government related media center is what the perception is over there. Is that accurate and true? Not necessarily. You talked about Fox News. Fox News represents certain viewpoints. CNN represents certain viewpoints. What we don't want to see is the perception that Black USA News and Be More News is the same sort of arena, which is why we have to support it so that Donnie doesn't take it. I purposely don't take any money from any of those sources so I can say and do what I please. And we as a community have got to support each other so that our dollars stay in our economy longer, and Donnie doesn't have to be in a position to make that choice for survivability. So our messaging is something that we continue to hear from him and not just CNN or Fox News, etc. We have to support Donnie, not Larry and or Angela. We have to support Donnie.
Let me just add this in here that it is just like Black politicians need our support, Black businesses need our support. So Black politicians can't come on the scene and say, hey, we need your support. Black politicians, who are often Democrats, have to support Black political consultants and Black campaign workers, because quite often we will go and hire a white boy from New York, from Harvard, and they'll come here and get their butts whipped. Ask Anthony Brown when he ran for governor. He brought in these expert white boys who got smashed because they didn't know the landscape. And we've seen it time and time again, locally, statewide. It's a crying shame how we don't have more faith in our own people. We often think that the white man's ice is colder, and they are in fact black white supremacists who will.
Is it not colder, Johnny? Is the white man's ice not colder? Isn't the white man's ice colder?
No, ice is cold at 32 degrees regardless of who the proprietor is.
Hey, all I'm saying is that a dollar needs to last in our community a lot longer than 6 hours, comparatively to 17 days in the Asian community, 12 days in the Jewish community. Our dollar lasts 6 hours because it's not circulated enough, and we don't support each other enough.
A part of it is that we don't support each other. Another part is what's talked about in this book, the institutional racism, the violence, the hostility. Let me give you a classic example. On West North Avenue at North and Linden, all the way up to Walbrook Junction, there's a single lane of traffic on a major thoroughfare. They don't do that crap in any other damn community, but they come to the black community and say, whoa, you need traffic calming. Time out. Have you been on Washington Boulevard? It's like a damn expressway, but nobody says anything, no speed cameras, but you come down Emerson Avenue doing more than 35 miles an hour, and I'll bet you your bottom dollar you'll get a ticket, especially at Emerson and Hilton, the fastest light in the whole damn United States. Always in the black community, we're targeted, our insurance is higher, and it just isn't fair. Now, ask Princess, she lives in Harford County. Her car insurance is like $2.50.
Yeah, compared to Baltimore City, it is much lower. And I actually have a friend who has a son who's about to get his license, and he wants a car. And she said that just to insure him is going to be in the thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Only
in Baltimore City. She lives in Baltimore City. Now, I live in Harford County. Now, you have a point. My car insurance is about $100-something a month.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about Republicans.
So, yeah. There is a difference.
About the dollar, Haynie.
Historically, though, they justify it because of the infrastructure, the roads. They say,
racism.
Now we know it's a systemic bias based on, some might call it, for maybe it's gentrification. Maybe it's, maybe it's just because it's Baltimore City. But it's happening. It's happening everywhere, even in Boston, and it happens everywhere, even in Boston. But yeah.
You've been to Boston, haven't you, Haynie?
I went to Northeastern University, as Princess and I talked about a couple episodes ago. So I experienced desegregation firsthand, which is the impetus of the issues that we have in our economic communities. Separate but equal is a doctrine that maybe it's time for us to look at and pursue. Brown versus Board of Education may have been the way that we dismantled our economic structure to the point that we're talking about redlining and we're talking about paying higher this and higher that because we don't have our community, because we want a kumbaya moment. Look around the world. How many kumbayas in non-segregated communities that actually work? America's not the melting pot. America's not the melting pot of the world that you think it is.
North Korea is about to join Russia and bust up in Ukraine. Byron, you've been virtually quiet. You've let this bully over here just dominate, and I'm not used to that, Byron.
It's your fault. Yeah. You've been the Friday bully, not me.
It went off the rails for a second there, so I said, let me just let this play out. But let me
stop running your mouth. Put him up.
Couple things I wanted to hit on here, and this is and quickly to Mike Haynes' perspective on this on the separate but equal. Booker T. Washington said, we can be as separate as the fingers on the hand in all things social, but as tight as the fists in mutual progress. And that was his explanation of Black folks can get along and build and become great without you. and you can be great without us. But let us move forward collectively. Until this time, we have to come together and do things collectively for the country, and in terms of war and natural disasters and things like that. So I'm a Tuskegee man. I subscribe to separate but equal.
Amen.
So I completely agree with you there. I will tell you, speaking of Tuskegee, I had a conversation with the classmate recently, and he is touting MAGA strong, and I'm trying to understand, and everybody's going after him, right? And one guy asked the question, what has Trump done for HBCUs? And this brother's response really got to the core of why he supports MAGA. He said, really, HBCUs is part of the problem. He said, because HBCUs trained so many or educated so many Black women that they felt like they didn't need a man. Boom, now I see where you are. Now I see why you support this movement, this MAGA movement. You want to make America great again and go back to the 1940s or 50s or whatever, a time period where it was male dominated, where it was women were home and raising the kids and they were, subservient to their husbands, where that was the objective. That's the utopian model, that when folks say make America great again, they want that type of lifestyle. And there are a lot of Black men who are in that category. And so it's important for us to not miss that.
They're intimidated by strong Black women.
That's exactly right.
Well, man up, dude. Man up. Man up. I'm fine with a woman making more than me. But at the same time, it challenges me to up my game. How about you, Haynie? Can you handle a woman who makes more money than you?
I'd handle it all day long. I'd wear
Damn
a skirt.
Skippy.
I'd
I'll
wash
be your
the
Mr.
kids,
Mom.
etc. Because at the end of the day, if she loves, cares, and respects for me, respect for me, which I think Black women have to continue to be sensitive to. The male ego, particularly the Black male ego, is very fragile, fragile. And we got to remember
it's traumatized.
Yeah.
As are our sisters traumatized. This is a traumatizing country. Even today, a Black woman in a room full of white women has to defend herself like many of us don't even realize.
Same thing with Black men in a room of white men. Separate but equal. What does that look like economically, politically for us? And to what Byron said,
it looks
coming
like a
together
lynch.
collectively as a country
It looks
on
like a
things
lynch.
that are what we should. Natural disasters, war, whatever it is, but separate but equal. Separate but equal.
Mr. Haynie, I just want to thank you for your broadcast from Dubai. The numbers were through the roof. Did you at all hear what Obama said about Black men, though? Did you hear his comments? Because I was getting a lot of feedback from some people. I won't name their names, but I was astonished when I thought, what about you, Byron? Did you hear what Obama said?
I did, yeah. And Obama has said that throughout his administration when he was in office too. He always has very stern, real conversations with black men.
Were you offended by anything he said?
Not at all.
Neither was I.
Not even one bit.
Neither was I.
Not even close to being offended.
And why would I get an opinion when the option is a man who is convicted, a convicted felon who is a treasonous traitor who in some countries would be shot? Run that clip, Michael Haynie.
I'm trying to put it up there. I don't know if you'll let me. Are you letting me?
Thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength, because that's what being a man is, putting women down?
Wow.
That's not.
Go ahead, Barack. Go ahead, Barack. Princess, any thoughts? You get the final word, sister.
Okay, so I don't mean to change topics, but I do want to bring this up, even if it's like for less than a minute, and I'll try to be quick. Thank you, Donnie Glover. On October 16, 2024, I had the pleasure and opportunity of attending a White House press conference at courtesy of bmorenews.com. And it was, thank you. And it was a Zoom phone call with the White House administration. Present on that phone call was CNN, NBC, major news networks. And what the purpose of the call was to inform the general press and media that the Biden-Harris administration has approved an additional $4.5 billion in student debt relief for 60,000 public service workers, bringing that total to over 1 million public servants. And already, many people have already been approved. So the money for many has already been dispersed. So I just wanted to briefly shed light on that and thank Donnie Glover and his relationship with the White House that I was able to attend such a worthy cause. And so thank you.
We'd send Michael Haynie over there, but we're not sure if he'll act right.
I won't. So don't send me. You can count on that.
I'll let you know. I saw the most polite arrest ever in my life at the White House. They said, "Sir, come to the front." I said, "Who, me?" Like, "No, the guy behind you." I said, "Hey, they calling you." And the guy walked up to the front. He said, "Would you put your hands behind your back, please?" And they locked his ass up. Okay. He had a warrant in Atlanta and he didn't know about it. So don't go to the White House, princess, without checking your legal status. Because that is embarrassing to get locked up at the White House. You going to cover a story? And I made friends with that Secret Service guy. Come to find out he lived in Towson. I'm like, "Hey, don't do that crap to me. I don't play that."
That's very unfortunate.
Go Ravens! Go Ravens! Hey, Haynie, did you know that not all senatorial candidates are Ravens fans?
Uh-oh. So you talking about in Maryland the fact that the Maryland Commodores or the Maryland Redskins, because we have two football teams in the state of Maryland, like New York has
Washington, D.C.
It's okay. It's okay.
Formerly the Washington Redskins. They don't vote in Maryland.
They are the Maryland Redskins.
And I've never seen a state like Washington, a city that has so many Cowboy fans. My God.
Yeah.
Explain that one. This is Baltimore. We Ravens. See that purple you got on behind you? Ravens.
All about the home team.
Right?
All about the home team.
Right.
All about
the game Monday.
Did you see Derrick Henry? Did you see him run the ball?
Oh, Henry!
Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. Be safe.
Hey, thanks, Donnie. Princess, Byron, good to see y'all, man. Love you all. Great weekend, man. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Donnie. Really, man. You got tears in my eyes, man. Swelling up, I'm crying. And it's not this onion I'm looking at, man. But you're going to get rid of that Larry Hogan side. How much he paying you? I'll take over. Get rid of Larry Hogan. We love you, Larry, but you can't be on Black USA unless you're running for governor.
Why not push up on also Brooks and just counter and buy an ad? They buy ad on mainstream TV.
I will pay for her ad.
Okay.
Oh, well, Mike, since you're throwing money out there, you can pour some money into Voiceover Inspires Entertainment. I need an investor.
I can't wait to talk to you.
Yeah,
okay, well, I guess I need to give you a phone call.
Let's talk. There and you send me that $25 bill, please.
$25. I think it's more than $25.
That's fine.
Maybe send a few thousands of dollars.
Put Angela also Brooke up there, Donnie. I got you covered. Princess, I sent you my stuff, man. You just touch bases with me.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
did you email it?
3 shows ago.
I'll get it. I'm gonna touch base with you.
Donnie,
I am, because you and I need to talk, and I need to talk to Byron.
We don't play that net 30, that net 60.
But put that Angela also Brooke thing up there, Donnie, starting effective immediately. I'll pay for it. Please.
Okay.
Very well.
I like Mike. Mike, can you pay for some of my business and stuff?
No,
It's in the ballpark of.
I don't got it like that, but I know right is right. And as you said, we gotta support our sisters.
Calm down, princess.
Yeah, I got
Calm down, princess. Pretty aggressive there.
Up to the plate.
Oh, wow.
You got to shoot your shot, man. She shot his shot. What you
And
talking
Byron
about?
just said he got half of it.
Quite Republican of you.
Hey, shoot your shot. I love
Hey,
that. Shoot
this
your
is about
shot.
supporting Black businesses. And I think it's interesting that Mike Haynie is asking BeMoreNews.com to take down this advertising from Larry Hogan.
Replace it.
I think it's interesting.
I said
Hey,
replace with Angela Alsobrook.
But you know,
We
I
need
just
Angela Alsobrook in the
You
U.S.
should have an ad up here. I went to her first and often. Hey, listen, we're not gonna keep asking you.
It's okay, Donnie. It's okay. We still,
Damn, I'm
getting there.
even asking her people as early this morning, 6 o'clock.
She's a wonderful human being, man. Wonderful human being. I was talking with
Pay
her
them white
sister at
boys,
length
pay black
yesterday.
media.
I got her back. Just send me a reasonable. Is it $100 a month? Whatever, Donnie. Don't kill Donnie. Put her up there. Angela Alsobrook. Whatever you got for Larry, put her up there. I know them both. I like Larry. Please put Angela up there. I'll pay Donnie if we got to do that. And I got 14 grandkids, man.
14.
I'm hurting. But
I'm sure we'll negotiate something. And let me just tell you, Baltimore Gas and Electric thanks you. Have a great weekend. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This is a quite Republican crowd.